Okay, one more time here. Y'all bear with us. We're new to this YouTube thing, and we're trying to figure out what video length times and what we can upload at one time. So we've talked about a good bit here. So here's one more situation in 2013. This guy bought a farm locally here in West Tennessee, Gibson County. Wasn't sure in the future what was going to happen with the farm, if he was going to keep it. He kind of bought it as an investment, possibly, but anyway, he bought the farm. This farm had been in soybeans, I think, for 12 consecutive years, and it was a really steep, rolling hill farm. But he hired another customer of ours to plant and harvest the farm for him. So this was a good case to show what we could accomplish. We went and took a soil sample after the corn emerged, 6 to 8 inches. He was using 8 gallon of our 7-15-15. But just another case here, Dad. This front one here is between the rows, and the back side is in the furrow. So
I went with the boys and looked at this farm. This was a cattle farm. For 50 years, it'd been a cattle farm, and it needed to stay a cattle farm. It wasn't a row crop farm. And we went out there and looked. The corn was beautiful. It had a perfect stand. And one of my boys, we sold him his seed corn, best I remember, as well as the plant food. And the boys remarked how beautiful the corn looked, and it did. It had a really great stand. But I told him, I said, it's going to have to rain every week. I mean, rolling hills, steep hills. I was not impressed. Now, the corn did look good at that time, but I never thought the man would do what he did that year. And he did have a very favorable growing season. But anyway, in the middle, we had a 42 pound per acre phosphorus reading. In the row, we had a 106 pound reading. And on potassium, we had 188 in the middle, and we had a 300 pound per acre in furrow. Tremendous, and every soil will respond differently. Now, the CEC on this field was 8. One sample it was 7.9, the other was 8.8, so probably going to average about 8. It was a pretty thin old hill farm, pretty rough. But the man did a great job that year. He got some seasonable moisture. And another thing that I was going to point out, I had an older customer here in our county for many, many years that bought plant food from me, and he called it a renter's fertilizer. He said, I can use this product and get the return on the money the year that I use it. And he really liked that idea. He farmed a lot of rented farms and so forth. And, in the environment that we're growing corn in right now, corn, soybeans at the prices we've got, it makes a lot of sense if you can make a fertilizer investment and get that kind of return the first year on it.
yeah, and in 2013, that 8 gallon of 7-15-15 and the corn prices then are matching very similar to the corn market today. Last I checked, I think corn was just under $4. So it's time to really look and study for a profitable way to grow corn. Which brings me to this right here, Dad. Let's talk about this for a minute. In 2016, so corn was around $3.50 a bushel that year. We had a customer in Decatur County, Tennessee, had been using our products for some years, and he had a dry fertilizer salesman come by to see him and told him that he was leaving yield and money on the table by not using dry fertilizer. So they arranged this plot. We knew nothing about it until the corn was probably knee-high or more. We had no clue this was happening, but he used 8 gallons of 3-18-18 with some micronutrients, our combo mix, and that's another great product that we sell several thousand gallons a year that goes in furrow or in our foliar products. It's a good blanket micro secondary program, has 8 micros and secondaries in it. Really great program, but this customer used 8 gallons of 3-18-18 against 40 units of DAP, 90 units of potash, and he had some micros in his dry fertilizer program as well. We knew nothing about this, but they shelled the plot. They weighed it. We weren't there for any of it. But the dry fertilizer plot, and this was a 30-acre plot split right down the middle. They did dry on this side, liquid on this side. Both programs had 180 units of urea broadcasted. Nitrogen was the same. The dry plot did 153 bushel per acre. The liquid plot did 179 bushels per acre. At that time, he had 91 acres, $91 per acre savings in his fertilizer program. He had $91 more per acre in the yield difference. He had $16 less per acre in his fertilizer input cost. So that made $107 per acre better in the liquid side of the plot.
It cost him $107 to put the dry fertilizer
Right.
on.
And this was a unique situation. One thing we've always seen most every time in using a starter or a full program, we see better emergence, more uniform emergence in corn. Corn's quicker to tassel. It's drier at harvest, better grain quality, higher test weight, usually better yield. I think a good average in using a starter fertilizer versus dry, we've always seen 7 to 10 bushel
It's a general rule,
increase.
in the plots that we've run over the years. And I know of no company that's been tried any harder than we have. We've been put in plot after plot after plot with customers and situations, and we've been put to the test in a lot of different years.
We've been challenged a lot, but we've never failed in anything we've been challenged on.
It's our product has always performed if it's used properly, and the man follows the program. And of course, we work a lot with vegetables as well, and we've really got tried in that market as well. And our product has really stood up well there.
Yeah, and we usually see better yield. This was a unique case, and I'll talk about that just a little.
Very tough growing environment.
Yeah,
Very tough.
This customer, small farmer at the time, 500-600 acre farmers, about what he was.
And I had put him a program together, basically to try to. The only farms he could find to rent was what somebody else didn't want.
Yeah, small farms.
They were small. The deer eating fields, the wet creek bottoms. And I was trying to put him a program together to help him get on his feet, really get going without breaking the bank, and get that maximum return on investment this year. If you don't stay in business this year, that extra fertilizer you put out there don't mean squat next year. And I was trying to really, help the man, not pinch pennies to the point we lost yield, but to leave the soil as good as we found it, make a good profitable yield, and that's what we were trying to do there, and that's what we had accomplished in that program.
Yeah, and many times in these tougher environments is where our product has really outperformed itself a lot of times, so to speak.
And I, as a young man starting out in the 70s, in my early 20s, the customers taught me the business. The idea of having that, of doing those tests in fur. I had a customer in my early career that planted wheat behind corn, where he planted with a 4-row planter on 36-inch rows, and he had me to come look in the fall. He said, I want to show you something. And we saw, when the wheat come up and started growing, we saw that band of fertilizer right off that every 36 inches. And what impressed me, that band was consistently about 2 inches wide. It didn't run out, it didn't move. So it showed me that our fertilizers stay put, they don't move a lot, they're very stable in the soil, and that we didn't use all that product growing that corn that year, that we had some carryover left. And we don't talk a lot about carryover now. A lot of our dry competitors talk about carryover. And the early on in my early career, my dry competitors, the song and dance story back then was, well, you use that liquid fertilizer one year, you'll do good with it, because you're farming off of the carryover of the dry. Second year, it'll go down. Third year, yield will just fall all to pieces. You won't make nothing with it. Well, that didn't prove out, so now there's a different story. But now, guess what? All of my dry competitors that were talked about liquid fertilizer didn't work in the 70s, guess what they're selling now?
Liquid fertilizer.
Liquid fertilizer.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of myths about liquid fertilizer. We hear new ones consistently, all the time, every day. We've heard, and again, we can't speak to what anyone else is selling or using. All
Absolutely.
we can make recommendations on and tell you about is products we're selling and our customers using. We've heard them all. The 31818, for example, had a customer telling me, well, you can't put that much potassium in furrow because it will cause root lodging and this. And no, we've got customers using 8-gallon programs, growing just as good a corn as anybody else. We've never seen any of those myths proven to be true. And some people are using higher rates in 2x2. And this is a good one here we'll talk about just for a minute. I thought this was very interesting. Show you, this is a tissue sample that was done in Madison County, Tennessee, in 2022. This customer was using a 12-gallon rate of 31818. They were putting it all 2x2. They had a very heavy rate of our combo mix in this product. They were really wanting to make sure they were covered on all their secondaries and micros, and they were shooting realistically at times in certain parts of their operation for 220, 230 bushel corn. So they ran a 12-gallon rate. But show this one more time and look at this, and I'm going to let Dad, this tissue sample was pulled at V3 on this corn, and Dad, just talk about the levels. I mean,
yeah, we're looking at all of our levels coming over in the sufficiency range, and this is what we like to see. Now we're seeing, the sodium showed up because they put a heavy nitrogen application on, and I think they were putting part of that nitrogen possibly in a 2x2 or something like that. So the plant had picked it up. That's the sodium that's higher there. But look at the potassium early in that growing season. So we're seeing everything coming over in the high medium range, and that's what we like to see. And we like to see the same in a soil test, not necessarily. It's a myth, and I heard Dr. Richard Large, co-founder of A&L Labs in Memphis, say many years ago in my early career that high fertilizer levels are not synonymous with high yields. After the nutritional needs of a plant are met, there's no value in having extra nutrients in the soil. And that old story about, we put nutrients in the soil like putting money in the bank. I hope what little money I've got in the bank don't get tied up and fixed with all that other money that's in the bank. I hope they keep mine separate. But you can't keep nutrients separate once you put nutrients in the soil. And that's the whole thing about one of the advantages of banding. We're putting that product in a very small area and come in contact with a very small amount of soil. The more soil you mix a fertilizer product with, the more it reacts and becomes tied up with the calcium, the aluminum, other nutrients that's in the soil.
Yeah, and so real quick to finish up on that, it's all about nuts and bolts. And we talk about an 8-gallon program. If 8-gallon is not going to help you accomplish your goals, we're going to be honest and tell you. But at today's market price, an 8-gallon program of 31818, and we've got other products, 9189, 624.6. We can blend some other products, but an 8-gallon program of 31818 with some zinc and sulfur. Of course, you're going to need some more sulfur with your nitrogen, more than what we can put in furrow to accomplish your yield goals. But you're looking at roughly a $50 per acre program for all your P and K possibly. If you're in a 2x2 setup and you got some higher yield goals, got a customer in Kentucky this year. He's realistically shooting for 240 bushel corn. I've got him running 12-gallon of 31818 this year.
And he's not a new customer.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah,
he's followed this program a number of years.
Been a customer for a number of years. But even at 12-gallon, you're still talking, around that $70, $75 per acre range for all your P and K. So, sure enough, helps figure a profit into corn pretty quick. But anyway, we're going to wrap this up. Again, if we can help you with your corn production, of course, and these banded in 2x2 works great also in cotton, soybeans, many crops, not just in corn. But if you're looking for a profit in agriculture this year and years to come, give us a...
And we've had some good success the last couple of years with canola also.
Yeah, absolutely. So whatever your row crop needs are, if you're looking to find that profit or a little bit more efficient way to do things, give us a call, 731-665-7488, Circle S Farm Supply, Rutherford, Tennessee. Thank you.